What is going on, friends? Sean Don coming back with a technical analysis. Here we have Bryan Chang, the newest member of the Grip and Rip Throw Squad for the summer throw squad, I suppose. He is a student at UC San Diego, and he is coached by my buddy Nick Scarvella. So during the summer, he, I guess, he's pretty chill. Nick's a pretty chill guy, so he's like, yeah, go ahead, work with good old Sean Don, see what you can learn from him in terms of hammer knowledge, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, so pretty cool. Excited to help Bryan out. So if you yourself are watching this video and you are interested in some coaching for the summer or even more long-term for the upcoming season, now is the time to sign up. Summer's already like halfway over. People are going back to school in like a month and a half, 2 months. But yeah, if you want to make big gains, you got to start now. Refine that technique takes 6, 8, 10, 12 months. And then, so all the work you're doing now, you will reap the rewards come February, March, April, May, June, whatever your championship season may be. So enough yapping. Let's take a look at Bryan's throw. So Bryan is left-handed, and he's primarily a three-turner. He's trying to learn the four turns. At least I think that's what my plan for him would be this off-season, is to just do four turns. Because the thing is, if you get, decent at four turns, you want to go back to three turns, it's even easier to do three turns. If you don't like four turns, guess what? You still got better at throwing hammer, so doing three turns is still better than it was before, probably. So, yeah, but he's left-handed, so as you know, that will mean I'm probably going to mix up some left-handed, right-handed stuff, some terminology. But not a bad-looking throw. Maybe starting out a little bit too fast, and then just kind of that right side leading, and then that left leg is kind of a little late, a little lazy because of that right side overactivity, I suppose. So orbit looks pretty decent though, a little shifting. So let's break it down. So Bryan, you're starting square at the back of the ring, 180s in between your feet, 0, 180, left sector line, right sector line, easy enough. Okay, so starting with the ball off to your left side, opening up. First wind looks pretty good. Second wind looks pretty good. Maybe a little lead with this right shoulder here. Like you can see yourself kind of right here, and then through this movement, you kind of see that boom, that right shoulder kind of lead just a little bit. Kind of sets up some right side tension. But as you go into the second wind, pretty good step up. Ball comes forwards. Right arm's nice and long. Left arm, elbow a little bit down. Not bad. Could maybe reach out to your left side a little bit more towards, we'll call this 90 in this direction. Is hold on, I'm backwards. 270 over here, 90 over here, 180, and 0. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, as ball comes towards 270, could reach out to your left a little bit more. And then as you go into the second wind, you see that ball kind of comes in front of that left foot. And as soon as that happens, you start to open up to connect a little bit early into that next wind. You kind of do a little step out, like your left foot doesn't actually move, but it does kind of rotate. You can see there. And you see your hips kind of come over that left side and then open up, and pretty decent second wind, or I should say first wind into second wind transition. Then as you go into entry, see what happens. So, and now this is kind of what I'm talking about, where like even in that first wind, you can see that right side kind of lead and set things up with a lot of tension to that right side. Going in entry, you can kind of see the same thing. You can see ball, you're connecting and trying to get it back behind you at 180 super well. So you're doing a good job there. It's just a matter of like how much do you use that right side as entry continues on, and then do you let the ball kind of get ahead, or do you let the ball kind of get even with you, or is that right side always going to kind of be leading the throw? Because right now at this moment, looks like that right side is very much in charge of the throw. Especially as we get to about like right here, you can see that right arm kind of coming across the body, almost dragging the ball a little bit, and then head kind of peeking out in front of this right foot towards like 30 degrees, 15, 20 degrees after 0. And then as you go through entry, see that just kind of continues. Now you see head, right side, everything kind of ahead of the ball. And then you see this left arm a little bit bent as the ball goes through 0. But then as ball does approach 0, yeah, you can see left arm's bent a little bit. That right arm is kind of back across the body over this left leg almost. And if you looked at like the triangle of your shoulders and arms, it would not be a, what's the term I'm looking for? It's not isosceles. But basically you have, what would this be? An acute angle from this right arm, and then a little bit of an obtuse angle, or more like right angle here, when ideally you want it to be square. Okay, I need to study up on my geometry apparently, but shoulders should be the bottom of the pyramid triangle, and then you want the right arm and left arm to be square. You want the angles to be equal, instead of, like I said, this angle between the right arm and their torso is a little bit too small. Basically, the ball's behind you, you're dragging, you're leading, that right side is ahead of the throw, so enough geometry. Basically, you can see this right arm kind of coming across. All right, you're pulling, you're dragging, whatever terminology you want to use. Just kind of leading the ball. All right, so that's kind of going to be the number one thing we focus on for the next 2 months. And it's just not leading the ball in entry. Instead, you want to feel kind of that left arm pushing the ball forwards, and then you want to kind of be patient, let the ball pass, and let the ball get ahead, and then work with the ball instead of ahead of the ball, pulling the ball, because now you're kind of fighting against it in this position. So with that, like I said, that right side is kind of dominant, taking over the whole throw. That means the left side, your power side, your engine side, is going to have a hard time keeping up with the throw. You're really not going to get much work from it. And the first kind of thing that I see with that is if you look at your left foot, it kind of does this weird thing where like it turns up, picks up, and there's not really much pressure coming off of that left foot working backwards. It just kind of picks up. And then as you can see, this right side rotates and continues to rotate around, and that left side is kind of late. In terms of, one, it picks up kind of early, which I'm not a huge fan of saying like, oh, you need to keep your left foot on the ground earlier for lefties. But just pick up a little bit early, and then it is just kind of behind the whole throw. That left hip isn't really quite connected. That left leg looks a little lazy, and that right leg looks a little stiff. You can see that kind of right knee kind of stiffen, straighten out just a little tiny bit there. I should say stiffen, maybe not straighten out. I don't think it actually gets any straighter, but it just looks very stiff. There's not much direction forwards. There's not much drop forwards towards 180, forward movement towards 180 in single support, like right in this area as the ball kind of approaches 180. So that means your left leg kind of needs to step around instead of step forwards. It's because you got this right knee obstacle. But catch, and like you do kind of sneak that left leg under, kind of catch up towards the end of that single support. Ball's in the direction of the right sector line, which is decent. Posture is not bad. Hips are kind of underneath you. Chest is kind of up. It's decent. Then as you go through double support, I'm going to bet that your right side just continues to pull, just based on how entry looked. And like, as you can see, decent patience for the first part of double support. Kind of settle into the legs, which is good. And you can see as that right heel grounds, you can see that right side start to turn ahead, where like this left leg is turning a little bit independently of this. Did I say that right? Right leg's turning independently of the left leg, where you see this right heel kind of ground. And once that right heel grounds, you can see the ball's still back over this left leg. Left leg's pointed back in this direction, but that right leg is pointed ahead. You see the head peeking a little bit. You see that right arm coming across the body still. You see that tension up in that right shoulder. Gotta crush that. Gotta get rid of that. All right. Like I say, gotta keep that triangle square to the body. Gotta keep your hands square to the body instead of behind, because that right side's just always kind of leading. So same sort of thing here. As you go through, all your turns look pretty similar, I think. Right leg stiff, straight a little bit. So then also not much dropping forwards towards 180. Instead, you just kind of rotate around it. That left leg rotates around. And now you catch a little bit later. You over-rotate a little bit because of that right side pulling earlier, or pulling more in that previous turn. So that kind of shortens the orbit a little bit. You land a little bit over-rotated in the feet. Land a little bit more shallow in terms of where the ball's at. And as you go through from there, it's probably going to get a little bit worse, where you see this right side pull a little bit more. You see that right heel ground. Same sort of pulling motion with that right side coming across the body. Right leg straightening out, stiffening out. See this left leg a little bit behind, not quite connected, not getting much push or turn out of that left foot. And you see that right side kind of pull back more and shorten the orbit more around the left, where you see, if you can't see the left side of the orbit in the camera view, but the ball's getting shorter on this left side of the camera view because that right side is pulling. And then now you see yourself over rotate more. Now you see this left foot more towards the back of the ring than the right. And then you're going to see more of that right side pulling right through there. You see that right leg turning ahead, left leg a little bit behind. Now you see that right side really start to pull back more. You're kind of lacking that stability of right side in double sport, where you can see, like, once you catch, once you get to about there, once you settle down, you want that right shoulder to be stable. Whereas you see as you go through double sport, you really see that right side pull back and shorten the orbit. And now, this is what I'm talking about. You can see the orbit of the ball right here in this turn because it gets shorter and shorter. And of course, maybe because you move further in the ring, you're further away, so you get more in the camera frame. But the point is, the orbit's getting shorter around camera view left side or your right side in the throw. So, and you see this left leg a little bit behind again. You see this right side really turning ahead, right foot pointed almost towards 180, while that left foot's still back at 90. So, and you catch, and honestly, not a bad catch position. Hips a little bit back. You do still kind of catch just before 270. And then you can see that right side push and extend up and pull back again through the finish. And you see yourself, that right foot kind of come off the ground because you are so kind of heavy on this left side. But yeah, so overall, right side leading in entry, right side leading in the next turn, right side leading in the next turn, pulling, dragging. Yeah, so that's basically it. You're going to have to chill out that right side, and then that will help you feel the left side work better. And if you can feel the left side work better, the throw is going to get a lot more effortless, and you're going to be able to work with the hammer much better instead of fighting against it by pulling that right side. So excited to help you out over the next couple months, Brian. Let me know if you have any questions, and if anybody else out there would like a technical analysis, or better yet, sign up for some online coaching for the summer, for this upcoming season, go to my website, gripandrip.co. Alrighty, thank you for watching. Until next time, Sean Don, signing off.